photo session?
Yes.
So share
I
photos?
saw, yes, I show you a photo
Oh,
and then you
yes,
got to
got it.
tell.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
So
that
the
is
first
this,
picture.
yeah, that's from the summit of K2. So that was July 22nd, 2018. Um, I know it's summit photos are funny because any of you can use
Yeah.
that because you can't tell it's me, or can't tell it's you. Um, so I was at that moment, it had been a very long day of climbing. We had left high camp at about 9 p.m. and got to the summit around 7 in the morning. Um, and I'm not the kind of person that gets um, really celebratory at the top of any mountain because I feel like there's a whole lot of work to do in order to get safely from the summit back to base camp. And so for
Okay.
me, I was feeling relieved. I was quite emotional, very, very emotional, in fact. Standing up there, just, couldn't believe that I had accomplished this amazing thing. But I was also very aware that I had to get back down.
Beautiful. So that's the moment of you thinking about all these at this moment, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Beautiful. And then I wanted to take you through a small journey with regards to K2. So K2 being the one of the most dangerous mountains on planet Earth. So how are you mentally prepared? And I knew you would have heard a lot of stories about things happening in K2, and then it can go wrong in just a flick of a time. So how are
Yeah,
you mentally prepared for this?
and that's a really good question because so many people think about the physical stress and challenge of climbing and overlook that it is also a mental and an emotional challenge as well. And so I wanted to be as prepared as possible. I wanted to be prepared physically, prepared mentally, and prepared what I call tactically. So for the mental piece, I had actually started working with a sports psychologist before I climbed Everest. So back in
Okay.
2018, because I recognized that there's this huge, huge mental component to climbing that most people just don't even think about. And so she was very instrumental in helping me understand why I'm climbing, why is it important to me, because when
Okay.
things get difficult, it's very helpful to be able to go back to your why, whatever that is. If you're, proving to your children that they can do whatever they want, or if you're climbing for, your own personal like satisfaction to prove what you're capable of, whatever it is, whatever the reason is that brings you to that mountain, it's really important that you're clear on what that is. Um, the other thing that I relied heavily on, both on Everest and on K2, was mantras. So my sports psychologist had helped me to think about, when it gets difficult, what are you going to do? And having that plan for me was very helpful. And then also being able to just mentally focus when things got the hardest. And so, on K2, there's a very difficult section of climbing called the Black Pyramid, which is, nearly vertical rock that's often encased in ice and loose snow. And you're climbing it in crampons, wearing a down
Yeah.
suit, using bottled oxygen. And so it's incredibly difficult. And during those moments, I would think to myself, I am strong. And I would actually use those words in conjunction with my body's movement. So on the Black Pyramid, it's really like hand over hand climbing. And I would say I am, and then I would say the word strong, so that there was, I just didn't want any negativity in my brain at all. I didn't want that little voice that was saying like, you can't do this,
Yes.
or you're
Yes.
going to
Yes.
be here, or this is hard. It's very easy for us as humans to fall into that
Yes.
kind of cadence of negativity. And it's so, so important to just erase that and to focus on the positive.
Beautifully said, and it's actually a key learning to everybody out there, and a lot of mountaineers has been a part of this, and this insight is something very special, I would say. And then to talk about K2 as well, I am so eager to know about all these in your journey so that people get to understand this as well. Uh, so when it struck your mind, okay, let's do K2, because doing Everest is another game, and then doing K2 is another game, I would say. So when did it just struck your mind, let's do a K2?
Yeah, it actually for me had happened probably 5 years prior. There was just this little thought like in the back of my head, like, wow, if I could summit K2, like that is really like legit. K2 is often called the climber's mountain.
Yes.
And I just kept it in the back of my brain. And at that point I knew I wasn't ready. I had a lot of work to do to prepare mentally and just skill wise. But I kept it back there and I kept it a secret because
Okay.
people like in my circle of climbing friends, they will often talk about climbing Everest or other Himalayan peaks, and um, if anyone would mention K2, it's sort of like, whoa, what? Like that's just crazy. Why would like everybody dies who goes there? And so I really kept it to myself, and I kept just so quietly like taking one more step to get ready, evaluating my skills and starting to work towards doing what I needed to do to prepare skill wise as well as just experience wise. So I climbed a lot in the Himalaya, I climbed a lot in Seattle, just to be as prepared as I could possibly be. And then in
Beautiful.
2000, I had hoped to climb in 2017, but that unfortunately fell apart. So in 2018, it all came together. And when I think, every mountain I've climbed, I think there's some sort of feeling that I have about that mountain when I look back. And, for K2, it to me is just gratitude. Very few people
Yes.
summit that peak on the first attempt. And I'm grateful that that happened. I'm grateful to have a strong team, that the weather, just so many things had to come together perfectly for that to happen.
Yes, yes, exactly. And then we will talk about Everest and this picture right now. And we will also get people know how hard it is to summit an 8,000ers, and a big long expression like these can put us into, and what scenarios we go through. So this picture.
Yeah, so that's the summit of Mount Everest. So that was May 19th, 2016. And I that was the first Himalayan peak that I had summited, the first 8,000-meter peak that I had summited. I had attempted another one, and because of avalanches, didn't make it to the top. And so, my goals for Everest, I didn't necessarily like, I wanted to summit, but I also was like, I'm just gonna give it as much as I can. I had just completed my last surgery for cancer 3 months before I left for Nepal,
Oh
or sorry,
my
three
God.
weeks before I left for Nepal. So I was really testing what my body could do. And I was grateful. Every step I took higher, I just grew with gratitude because I felt like my body had been through so much in the previous year. So in that moment, I was thankful for everyone that had gotten me that far. I was grateful to my doctors, to my friends, to like my coach, everyone who had given me, like random people I would meet while I was training who would like hug me and tell me that I was strong. Like just so many things, so many people I felt like had like gotten me to the point of being on the top of that mountain.
So how was the feeling on the top of the world?
So there was that sense of gratitude. So many people, I think, feel like, you climb any mountain and there's this just instant euphoria and this instant shift in your life or your understanding. And I've never found that to be true. I find that the learning for me comes later.
Okay.
So I stood there and I also had a checklist in my mind of what I needed to do because I'm still thinking about the descent. And so for me, I was going to pay gratitude to the mountain, to everyone that had gotten me there. I needed to change my oxygen. I needed to check my gear to make sure I was ready to safely descend. Took some photos, and I was probably there 20 minutes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, yes. And then your story actually made me think of all these aspects on the mountain, and it's something very very special to you. It would have been a very special moment to you as well. So the next picture.
Oh, I can't see that one. Oh, the
Oh,
Emmy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy situation. Um, I was happy just to be ready to climb Everest. I was happy that things came together for me health wise to do that, and our team had actually um, had created this project to record our climb uh, with virtual reality cameras. So at the time in 2016, that meant that we made this like sphere of GoPros, and we and I was there to climb. I was not a part of the production of anything.
Okay.
But it was such a huge feat for the people who were actually filming, and we didn't know what was going to come of it. I think at the time I sort of thought, well, it's cool video to have. It's cool to have this, my climb chronicled in this way. But it ended up that Sports Illustrated actually bought that footage and turned it into a virtual reality um, documentary about our climb. It's called Capturing Everest, and it was just a really fun, like 6 months for me to work on the production of that documentary, and with the team. For me, it kind of meant that our climb continued after we were off the mountain.
Ah,
Most
yeah.
of us in Seattle, and so we got to still like climb together and collaborate and work on everything we needed to do to get Capturing Everest ready to be released. And never in the in the back of my mind did I think it would like that I would be involved in an Emmy in my life. So it was just a really special treat to have that and to do it with the team that I did, because we're all super tight and just really close as climbers and as friends.
Beautiful, beautiful. So Amy is in your list right now. Dreams do what even that you have never dreamt about has come true in your
Yeah,
life, I
and
would
that's the
say.
crazy thing about dreaming. I think sometimes, what the universe has ready for us is bigger than what we can even imagine. Like when I was a little girl, if someone said, "Oh, you're going to get an Emmy one day," I'd be like, "How is that possible?"
Yes, I get it, I get it. So the next picture is
Oh, yeah. So that was actually in Salt Lake City in the US, speaking to a group of girls actually at their school. And, to me, I've had a lot of great success in the mountains. I've learned so much. I feel like every mountain has something to teach me. And mountaineering and mountaineers can be accused of, sort of a selfish endeavor. And so for me, it's important to take what I've learned and what mountains have taught me and to share that with other people. And so, to me, it's all about teamwork, trusting the people that are with you, knowing that literally, like, I have your back and vice versa. And some of the things that I have learned in the mountains are just about building my confidence and knowing that nobody gets to tell me what I'm capable of except for me. And I think we, especially as women, very quickly let other people define what we're capable of. And I've learned kind of the hard way that only I get to do that now.
beautiful. So you shared your stories as well
Yes.
through speaking and all these. Yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I
Really
think
fun.
I think we have completed our photo session.